community advisor was Dr. Thad Williamson from the leadership department, which I'm also a student along with economics. And my site supervisor was Kathy Woodson, who is the Richmond VO organizer. So what is Virginia Organizing Project? Well, it is a nonpartisan, nonprofit, grassroots social justice organization, which basically means it's a community organizing group. And community organizing is definitely a term that's been thrown around a lot the past few years, and basically involves a lot of door knocking, flyering, meeting with legislators, meeting with constituents in an area to try to better the area that you're in our case, the state of Virginia. And I'll be going through the 4 main things I did this year, which were, state budget cuts, public transportation issues, public housing issues, and community jobs issues. And I'll be connecting how these issues connect to my Jepson work and my work in economics. Alright, so the thing I started out with this summer was state budget cuts. Over the past few years, under the Kane and McDonald administrations, the state of Virginia has to cut about $10 billion from its budget, which, as you can imagine, is an enormous part of its budget. And it's done that without raising any taxes whatsoever. So the entire brunt of the economic crisis has been thrown on the expenditure side of the equation. Virginia organizing views that's not entirely just, because a lot of those cuts impact the poor, impact minorities, impact people who generally probably are having trouble making ends meet during the crisis. So what I did was, Kathy sent me to crisscross Richmond multiple times, meeting with any department, any organization, any nonprofit that was getting its budget cut. And so I met with, I contacted 30 of them, maybe 35 I think actually, and 10 responded. So I met with 10 people about what they're doing in the crisis, how they're gonna get more money, how they're coping with this basically. And in addition to that, I am part of the Balanced Virginia campaign for Virginia Organizing, which is Virginia Organizing's commission on how to deal with this in the future, how we got to raise state revenues so that when the next crisis comes, we're not in the same position we are now. And this tied into my economics coursework because I got to see who pays for the price of economic crises and how we deal with issues of public economics. I did a lot of work in public transportation as well. I got connected to Richmond's activists. We formed the Richmond Transit Riders Union, which is what it sounds like. It's just a coalition of people who ride buses in Richmond to try to make the system better. And it's something that really is important to me because I rely on public transportation. Our main goal was to deal with the fare increase that was going through. So we canvassed Broad Street, we went to City Hall, we met with city councilors. We got some of them on our side, including Marty Jewell, notably, who might have a vested interest in public transportation. Guessing you got that. So anyway, Dr. Howard did. Okay, so that connected to my Jepson 1 and 2 class with Dr. Boyd a lot, I thought, because she used the word persuasion a lot. I consider it manipulation. Getting people in the community who maybe haven't been engaged in this type of political process before, getting them to say what they need to say, meet with who they need to meet with. Another main issue that I focused on was public housing issues, and specifically with Group Reframe, Residents of Public Housing in Richmond Against Mass Eviction, which basically is just an advocacy group for people in public housing, making sure that there's one-for-one replacement, meaning you go back, if say, one part of public housing is destroyed, they build the same amount. People in public housing get first dibs on new public housing. And also they do a lot in Section 3 jobs, which is that people should preferentially employ people in public housing in the hopes that they could move out of public housing. Most of my work dealt with the annual September meeting, which is the big meeting that just happened like a week ago, for prospective resident members because it's a resident-led group. And in support of this, I canvassed Gilpin Court, which is the largest public housing project in Richmond. It's knocked on every door there. It was a really big project. And got a lot of people to come to the meeting. And that certainly tied in well to Jepson because in Dr. Williamson's class we learned all about how minorities, lower income people are certainly in very dire straits, and people in public housing are near the bottom of socioeconomic ladder, and Virginia Organizing is trying to do everything we can to improve their situation. The last major issue was community jobs, which is just a mission through the Center for Community Change we partnered with, which is a coalition of other groups actually. And it was in response to the economic crisis. As I mentioned before, a lot of people lost their jobs in this economic crisis. And Virginia Organizing's view is that we cannot properly come back from this recession until we have the jobs. So what I did was I had a petition circulated by the Center for Community Change, and it was really just a really creative petition because it was a fake job application saying, name all this information, like how long you've been out of work, what your qualifications are, and we sent them to legislators saying, we have all these people who really need a job, what can you do about it? That really obviously tied into my economics work because I got to see how people who lost their jobs, how they feel about it, what they're going to do about it, and hopefully we're going to build some power around this and eventually get to the goal of the campaign, which is 1 million jobs. Hopefully we can do that. Beyond that, there's just the typical list of things. I got my site supervisor, Kathy Woodson, Thad Williamson, Amy Howard, of course, Cassie Price, Mr. and Mrs. Burhans, thank you very much. Liz Riggs from UR Downtown, which is a big help this summer. I was able to utilize UR Downtown, I think, to its full potential, which is something I encourage everyone at the university to do. It's a really underutilized resource. But if you're doing anything in the community, it's a really great resource there. Ken and Kate and Schroeder were two of the guys who basically got me plugged into the activist community in Richmond this summer, and all the other excellent people such as yourself.